Welcome to Rack of the Week 231. We're going to talk straight pool today. On the screen, as usual, you can see my supporters from Patreon and YouTube. Thank you very much. This week, I introduced a new Ghost bridge, version 2. I think it's a little better than version 1. Version 1's a good bridge. I'm actually going to close out version 1. I've got 8 or 10, I think, left for sale on my website. I reduced the price to $12, so go grab one if you want one. And check out my Ghost Align tool if you haven't seen it yet. 6 uses in one from your Vision Center, mostly for training a straight stroke. Let's get into this rack. You know, over the years, I've done a lot of Rack of the Weeks where I'm shooting a rack, and of course, I make the break shot, clear the table, and make another break shot. And so I talk about things I do right, and I talk about things I do wrong as well. And I've done a couple of Racks of Weeks where I make a mistake and don't finish the rack, and I explain why. And I want to do that this week, but we're going to do it on someone else's run. I'm not going to show the other person. It's not important who it is. Don't make any guesses. Anyone who tries to guess who the player is, I'm going to delete your comment from the comment section. That's not what this is about. So we're not going to criticize other players. We're only going to uplift the game. I do want to show this rack, though. You can see the rack on your screen. So I'm just going to describe a couple of things that this other player did. By the way, they pocketed 13 balls, missed the key ball, and failed to get on the break shot. So when the other player looked at this table, their immediate reaction was, well, there's a little bit of clustering, and we're going to need to open up some alleyways for balls. I believe that that's wrong. I call this Rack of the Week the right way, as if there is a certain right way to run a rack and a wrong way. There isn't a specific right pattern, but there are right principles. So 10 straight pool players are going to come up with 10 different patterns, but all of them are going to follow good technique and good straight pool principles. Well, that's what we're talking about. I think what that player said is a mistake, because when you look at this table, there are no 2 balls touching. Clusters are when the balls are within 1 ball diameter of each other. And of course, frozen clusters are even worse. These balls are all somewhat open. Now, they're not all open to a pocket. And so that's the wrong way to look at this rack, to think that you need to start bumping these balls. Then this player said, yeah, but we're going to need to bump some of these balls. And when we do that, we got to be able to predict within a certain distance where our cue ball is going to stop. I think that's also a mistake. On a rack like this, you should be able to predict exactly where your cue ball is going to stop on every single shot. Also, I think you can run this rack, and I do run it. We'll take a look in a second, without bumping another ball. I dump 1 ball, and that's is that the 4 ball? Yeah, away to clear the 4 ball away from the 11 to make a break shot. That's the only ball that I touch with the cue ball. So you might not think that's possible. I guarantee you it is. And when you see a rack where the balls are separated like this, that should be your goal if you want to play straight pool the right way. The player that I watched did not even think about how to open up the break shot or create a break shot until they had pocketed 4 balls. And I don't think that's the right way to play. If the table's more clustered, you're not going to be able to identify a break ball, sure. But we're looking at this table. This is a mostly open table, and there's a ball in break ball position. I'll talk about that in a second. So that's a mistake as well, I believe. And then this player didn't even start to think about an end pattern until there were 5 balls left on the table. When I look at this table, I already see an end pattern. Now, you're not going to be able to predict a specific end pattern, but from experience with running racks, you can see where the balls lie and where the potential for end patterns are. So not only do you think about creating a break shot, bumping a ball to create a break shot, you think about bumping a ball to move it into key ball position, or to move a ball to create a connector to a key ball. And you can see those opportunities. That doesn't mean exactly what you're going to shoot, but there are multiple opportunities to do that, and you need to recognize that before you begin. Okay, so I'm going to run this rack in a second, but I'll describe to you what I'm talking about first and draw it on the screen. Number 1, we'll do a little bit of rack analysis. Number 1 is always, do I have a break ball? Lots of times you won't. In this rack, we do. The 4 and 11, either of them can be a break ball. The 6 ball looks like, yeah, the 6 is in the rack. 6 is in the rack, the 3 ball's too low. So there's really no opportunity for a break ball there. The 4 and the 11, I think, are pretty clear. And then you could say, okay, they're tied up though. How am I going to create a break ball out of those? There's two ways: move one of them or shoot them from the short side or from the long side. So if you get position here after the 14's gone, you can shoot the 4 in the side. If you clear all these balls and get short side position, you can shoot the 4 or 11 back this way. I'm just showing the potential for clearing out the break ball. That's a tall order because you got to shoot 6 shots. So I don't think that's not going to be in the realm of possibility. But again, it only takes 30 seconds to look at the table and analyze, see what the potentials are, and then what the reality is of what you can achieve. Then the other opportunity for opening up your break shot is right here, the 14. Obviously, if you get an angle on this ball, you can bump the 4 ball up, or you can bump the 11 ball over. And I would recognize this immediately, and I would say, okay, look, if I'm going to bump the 11 ball over, I want to do it in such a way that I don't move the 4, because if you hit the bottom of the 11, then you're going to bump the 4 ball this way and you lose your break shot. So probably if I'm going to do that, I want a shallow angle on the 14 to bump the 11 this way and follow the cue ball forward to have a shot on the 8. We're going to see in a second why that doesn't work. It's because we need to get rid of the 8 early. So key balls. These are potential key balls. They're not great because we'd love our key balls up here. However, they're also potential key balls in that there could be a pivot ball located in the center of the table. So if you leave the last ball on the table as the 10, you just pop off the rail from the 10. Now you have an angle on the 2 to go to the rail and out or stun up, and you're on your break shot. So you need to recognize that these are your potential. They might not end up being the key ball at all. We're recognizing the potential key balls, potential break balls, etc. Then our player shot the 1 ball first and then shot the 10 ball. I think that's a mistake. Now, some people might find a good pattern that way, but I think it's a mistake. And why would I say that? The next step after identifying your key balls is to look for clusters. And we don't really have clusters because, as I mentioned, this is a somewhat open rack. But we do have blocker balls. We do have trouble balls. And the glaring trouble ball is this one, the 5. Once the 5 ball is gone, then these balls can go. Right now, obviously, the 6 is blocked by these other balls. But we got to begin with the 5. We don't want to be crashing into these balls. Just remove the 5. Then this combination is super easy. And you can get at these balls in other ways or play short side position. Once one of these balls are gone, then a ball can go back that way. So there's ways to deal with that without crashing into balls. That's the last thing that we want to do. That's the last thing we want to think about doing. Okay? So because this is a ball that we need to remove, this is your best first shot. I would never shoot the 1 ball first here. And there's another good reason that I'll get to in a second. So I like shooting the 8 ball because it's right near the rail and it's close to the pocket. We're not going to miss it, and we don't have to play position. You don't have to do anything to play position. The cue ball is just going to drop down here. Bing, you're on your trouble ball. And I've also mentioned in plenty of racks of the weeks earlier, if you have a break shot on one side of the rack, you want to remove balls from the area between your ball and the pocket. So that's another reason to shoot the 8 ball first. Okay, there's another reason to not shoot the 1 ball first, and that is this. When you're looking for a rack like this, you're planning a rack like this, analyzing it, you're looking for connectors. So I've already mentioned one of these could be a connector into could be a key ball into the side pocket. You go diagonally from your pocket. One of these can be a connector to that for your end pattern. Also, the glaring connector that I see is the 10 ball. The 10 ball is a connector to the 6. Okay? Any kind of position up here on this 10, and it's going to be real easy to hold your cue ball right here for the 6. So you got to recognize that connector. And then the 1 ball connects to the 10. And that's the other reason why I would never shoot the 1 ball first here. You're eliminating an ideal connector because all of your other balls are down table. So how are you going to play position for a down table ball to get up table to shoot the 10? I'll tell you how. By leaving the 1 ball here. Then it'll be a simple matter later on to either play a shot with minimal cue ball movement where your cue ball just goes boop and you're on the 1, or boop boop and you're on the 1 on the side. Extremely controllable, and we're not playing any guessing games with where our cue ball's going. Okay. So now what I can see then, so I'm going to shoot the 8 first to get rid of the 5. I'm going to be low on the 5, so it's going to be a simple matter to just tap the 5 in and come up here and get on the 14. We've already recognized we need an angle below the shot line of the 14 to bump the 4. Okay. So I'm not exactly sure what we're going to do then. It depends on what angle. We might shoot one of these balls up in the corner. We might shoot the combination. We might slide over for the 1 ball to the 10 to the 6, like I mentioned. I don't know yet. We're recognizing the potentials that are laying here because it's a mostly open rack, and we want to try and run this without bumping another ball. Okay, I'm going to shoot, and let's take a look at what happens. Even comparing a shot on the 8 and the 1, they're both easy, and you're not going to miss either one. But the 8 ball is a higher percentage because it's closer to the pocket, and you don't have to do anything with the cue ball. So I went and looked. Oh, I just want my cue ball to peek out past that 4. But I know that if I hit it too soft, I'll be straight in on the 4, and then I can shoot. I mean the 6, and then I can shoot the 6, and then I will have the correct angle on the 14. So now before I shoot the 14, I'm going to go look. And I've noticed if my cue ball stops right here, this 9-12 combination is super duper easy. It's dead straight in. I'm going to pause this for just a second. If I had more angle, which I don't, but I just want to point this out. If the cue ball was here, it would be controllable to shoot the 14 and hit the 4 to the rail and off, creating a key ball right in front of the side pocket. And I would choose that option. Only if it's controllable. In other words, I know that I can send the cue ball, the 4 ball here, and I can stop my cue ball here, and it's not going to go flying around somewhere. I don't have that angle. So I'm not just trying to open up the break shot and, gee, I wonder where they're going to go. No, I've decided in advance I'm going to move the 4, and I'm not going to touch the 11. I know exactly where these balls are going to go. And since I can't get the cue ball up here in front of the side pocket, I mean the 4 ball, I'm going to move the 4 ball here. I just want it past the 11 so that it becomes a key ball in the side pocket. That doesn't mean it will be my key ball. It means it's there as a potential key ball should I need it. So I'm not shooting this. I'm shooting this with a clear intention. Exactly what I want, and that's what I got. Now, once I shoot this combination, the 9 ball is going to go this way, probably just a little bit. I'm going to have a shot on the 9 or the 15 or the 13. Okay, now we take a second to look at this. Now that every trouble has been dealt with on the table, and I bumped only 1 ball, and that's the 1 ball that I chose to bump before I even started shooting. Now I want to look at this and decide how to clear the rest of the balls without bumping anything. It's at this point that I realize that I'm going to use my connectors. I want to get rid of the 15. I don't want to shoot the 9 right now because the 15 blocks the 3 and the 6. So once the 15's gone, all 3 of these balls go in this pocket. So this is a great opportunity, and it's extremely predictable. The cue ball is just going to go to the side rail, come up here for the 1 in the side. And I already knew, because I noticed it before I even began shooting, that the 1 connects to the 10, connects to the 6. Now look what I have. I've got 2 K3 balls, 2 K2 balls, and a key ball, should I choose to use it that way. I still don't have a definitive end pattern, but all the balls are in the positions I want them, and they're all open to the pockets. Don't try to get cutesy. Don't try to get close to this 1 ball. You don't want to try and go like this. You want to get your cue ball way over here so that any variance in the angle to the 1 is minimized. And now I know that I want to hold the cue ball, but I don't want it on the rail. So just give yourself a slight angle so you don't have to do anything but tap this in and you're on the 6. That's how your connectors work. Now my cue ball's well off the rail. And now I'm going to take a look real quick. I don't want, it would be better if I had 1 K3 and 1 K2. So I'm going to start eliminate, I want to eliminate 1 of each. So that shot gets me on the 13. I'm deciding on, well, yeah, I've already decided. So I want to shoot the 3 ball first. It's easier to get to the 3 anyway. But the point is, I now have a K2 ball, And I've decided that what I'm going to do, I had to take a look at it there for a sec. I'll hit the pause. I'm going to use the bridge to shoot this. I've decided that I want to get as straight as I can on this 2, because I want to be able to float forward to here where the 4 ball is the key ball. So that's become my end pattern, and it's now definitive. So because I know I want to do that, this is not a great K2 ball, because you got to have a really good K3 to get perfect on it. So here's the line of the pocket for the 2 ball. So it looks like the 3 ball is lined up perfect, but I don't have a shot on the 3. So I need to use the bridge to shoot the 3, and I need to get either directly on this line or just a hair below. And there's 100% easy way to do that, and that's to make sure that you get an angle on this 9 where you're just close to straight or a little bit below. Because shooting the 9 ball, you can go to the rail and just float off the rail directly in line to the 2. It's kind of position 101. So that's what I've recognized, and that's the reason why I chose to go from this ball to the 3 and not to the 9. Real easy to do this, and if you get to, and I think I have enough angle to go to the rail and just land absolutely perfect. And that's why I said we're not playing any guessing games. We want everything exactly where we want it. But I got shallow enough that I can just stun it. You notice I'm a little bit below the shot line, which is what you want. That way my cue ball doesn't have to go straight this way. It can float above, and I can get the perfect angle. I chose to get near to straight. You could play the cue ball here to bounce out as well if you wanted to. That's the proper way to run a rack that's partially open. You don't have to hit, you don't have to nudge a single ball. Just analyze the rack, find your potential key balls, connectors to key balls, connectors to trouble shots, remove blocker balls. It didn't have to go exactly that way, but when you process the routes, think about the routes before you even begin shooting. This should be 100% clearance every single time. This one, the break shot, the break ball is a little bit closer to the rack. So this is straight high ball, and I hit that too soft. Did you see the cue ball? The cue ball backed up and went forward. So I hit it too soft, and it kind of got stuck here. I'm pretty lucky that I have a shot on this 15. I would like my cue ball to go back into those with more force and possibly create another shot over in this direction. But as you can see, I do have a shot on that ball. Now I'm playing position for the 10, and I have several opportunities here to open up the rack. So the run continues. That's how you approach a partially open rack. And I hope that this was a little bit different twist, because I've done this type of rack of the week before, but I think it helps to at least talk about the wrong way to do it and how I saw someone else try to do it. And maybe it'll make a little bit more sense that way. The way to approach your rack analysis, you really got to decide. They say Willie Mosconi used to do that. He would walk around the table a couple of times and take 2 minutes to look at the balls. But then when he began to shoot, it was like bing, 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 bing. Why? Because he analyzed it the way I just explained. And that makes it easy. Controlling the cue ball is the hard part. But planning it, that should be easy, and it's one of the fun parts of playing straight pool. All right, hope you enjoyed that and got something out of it. And I think we'll do a little straight pool next week as well. If you're going to play straight pool, play it straight, and I'll see you next week on Rack of the Week. Bye.